Have we eaten yet? Did you take your vitamins? How about your happy pills? Sounds ridiculous not being able to recall if we did or didn't, huh? Where did we leave the keys to the car? Is the laundry machine turned on? Shit. I'm driving halfway past home to the grocery store and I can't remember if I left the stove on. Going, gone. That is the people that we are supposed to remember. That is the dates, the memories, and when they were created. Some say, from a perspective, that this is a result of cerebral atrophy, while others, from a different perspective, say that this strenuous effort of remembering is being swept away so that fleeting glimpses that spark something new could occur. Oh, how our brains get blamed almost always, often too quickly, and almost always often unconsciously for faults in our memory. Unbeknowingly along the same trajectory, occurring almost at the exact same time that these unconscious blames are being placed on our brains, something else is happening in them. Certain clusters of brain matter grow more plentiful after a fully developed brain. Have the white coats actually found the place where we commonly refer to as the place where wisdom is stored? That same kind of wisdom that comes only because of age? The mind has some incredible features, markedly that of splitting memory into two sections, what is known to us as, or what we have referred to as, short-term and long-term recall. Long-term memory is supposed to enhance with aging years, while short-term memory recall is supposed to fade ever more softly with each passing phase. Flashes of memories from decades ago could be recalled almost instantaneously, while remembering if we've forgotten where we left our keys just a couple minutes ago is something that has gone beyond us. But seriously, did we mention that already? Maybe there is something to this split of memory. In fact, there's gotta be something to it. The old-timers, they've much to give in their ways. A learned man easily loves those whom give much of their time. Our teachers are beholders of wisdom. That is how we perceive them. How many times have they shown us through to the other side of those darkened corridors? By their very nature, they must possess fire. Their souls, therefore, must be sustained in some type of dryness. It's become increasingly rare over the years to come across individuals that, for whatever rhyme or reason, have become incapable of intuiting metaphorically. The alchemists, with the exception of but rare circles, have become Mew-like. In other words, a ridiculously rare phenomena to behold. The psychically analytic have more in common with the poets than we might be initially inclined to think. Just like a good sculptor or painter for that matter, he must have a sense to intuit what else is there within the confines of his focus. A good shocking experience to the senses is enough to render excesses of soul null and void. Such experiences, to the prudent in judgment, can be used as primers. It's the substance contained within the essence of these primed grounds that we aim to utilize for further benefits. The last thing that we want to do is to be caught in the soot of a tar of pit, impairing our mental perceptual acuities. We are always looking for an edge. We are always looking to stay on the edge, that place between madness, insanity, and a stroke of genius from time to time. Boil up some steam, let it dissipate throughout the body, sort of like how much steam is seen when it's cold outside and you work up a good sweat. Eventually, inevitably, that heat rises up into the ether, permeating all of time and space. Eventually, memory-filled emotions and emotion-filled memories go hand in hand. What happens to our memories when we disembowel them of emotion is something of the effect of obtaining a barren, desolate place. In such circumstances, it's been said time and time again that the old, and just to be precise here, the aged, always establish an oasis of sorts. They cannot help but dispense away with their wisdom to be able to have it be as so. Being devoid of emotion for some is a terrifying thing to see. There is a difference, however, between being incapable of emoting and having learned how to dissipate our involvement of them in matters. The requirement that for some is bitterly given up for the acquisition of sharp and poignant insights. We've learned, to some degree, the value of constraint. To some degree, we've learned that the need to approach insignificances is no longer there. Our sights have become centered in, at the middle of that which we could see farthest. Doing so brings us an almost indescribable feeling. It's an unattached kind of feeling. Perhaps we've begun to come to know that the center, our at the moment perceivable center, is always, however, subject to change. Clarity, in some occasions, if not in most occasions, becomes grasped the further something is held. Show us, great master, the lessons necessary for us to continue to find our souls. You are great in your ways, undoubtedly, because you know precisely where to divulge your time. Yes, absolutely, and most definitely yes. This split of the mind has some purpose to it. Where an effort is preserved at the expense of an inefficiency or insufficiency, something else gains in its favor. We refuse to take on new sustenances so that memories of moments past can take on new forms with a new vigor and a new vitality. At times, it is a nuisance to us to have to watch ourselves or others struggle through this process of remembrances and their counterparts, forgettances. Our characters are not made of whatever it is that we are struggling to piece back together. Characters are made up of a multitude of various posits. Do we not remember what we had to correct in our behavior? Those experiences tend to stick with us for our betterment. Our lives become a space where the memories of experiences are placed. Part of our being is in the flow of the back and forth movement which embodies the essence that is responsible for retrieving such memories from these spaces. New input has a tendency of alarming the sensuous being that governs protection over our being. The ego cannot help but take on protection or protective measures whenever an alien entity or a foreign substance enters our domain. What's behind the ego breeds itself forward in the emotional space contained within the preserves of its own vault. It leisures in the confines of review over its own life. It seeks to come to know. This early morning's nuisance and what caused it, or a few weeks ago, or the face that was met just a few weeks ago, gets coupled with the inability to recall these experiences forth at will. This is a sort of inertia which sustains the piecing back together of our memories stored. Those memories that were stored some time long ago. Soul is a profoundly complicated thing, completely and not nearly understood as much as it should. Perhaps that's how it's always been, and perhaps that's how it will always be. But undoubtedly, there are some souls that come into this world eons away and far ahead of their time.